ओके तो भाई आज मैं रिएक्शन करने जा रहा हूँ सैमसंग गैलेक्सी S21 लाइव। कोई भी एडिट वेडिट नहीं है, जो भी निकलेगा वो मेरे शक्ल से निकलेगा। और मैं सैमसंग का फ़ैन हूँ, ऑनेस्टली मैं बोलता हूँ। मैं सैमसंग का बरसों से भाई साहब मैं इस्तेमाल करके आ रहा हूँ फ़ोन। सैमसंग गैलेक्सी S7 अभी भी चल रहा है मेरे हाथ में। तो रिएक्शन तो होने वाला है बढ़िया सा। तो चलिए भाई, MKBHD मतलब कि मार्क्यू ब्राउनली की जो वीडियो है उसमें मैं रिएक्शन देने जा रहा हूँ। ओके तो चलिए भाई शुरू कर दें। सबसे पहले फटाफट से 720p चला होना पड़ेगा क्योंकि भाई CPU लो है।
All right, it is already that time of the year. We really didn't miss a beat, huh? Got new Samsung stuff. So Samsung just revealed the Galaxy S21 and S21 Plus. And I've got some first hands-on and some impressions of them right here. I also just dropped a separate video on the big dog, the Galaxy S21 Ultra. Definitely check that out if you're interested. It's the flagship of their flagships, and that video will be the first link below the like button. But for these two, S21 and S21 Plus here, we have some very interesting new numbers, new specs, and new prices. Now there are two new phones I'm talking about here, like I said, so I figure I might as well talk about the differences between them. Usually it's basically two different phones that are just different sizes, and that's it. This time it's two different phones that are different sizes and also different materials. So the smaller S21 comes in at 6.2 inches, while the S21 Plus comes in at 6.7, which is almost the same size as the Ultra. And they look and feel pretty close in size, but individually, like once you hold them, you can really tell a difference. And that also, of course, with the size difference means the space inside is different. So that's a different battery, 4,000 milliamp hours on the S21, 4,800 on the S21 Plus. That's pretty impressive. And then yes, materials. So the S21 Plus has a matte finish over glass, and the S21 has a matte finish over polycarbonate, aka plastic. And so those two things are all that account for the difference in price, but it is a $200 difference in price now. The S21 starts at $799 this year, and so the S21 Plus.
अनबॉक्सिंग पीडिया। हेलो भाई, हाँ भाई पहचान लिया भाई, कैसे हो भाई? वेलकम टू द स्ट्रीम, लाइक एंड सब्सक्राइब करके जाना भाई। आज हम रिएक्शन करेंगे भाई S21 में। S21 की जो प्राइस है $800 और S21 प्लस की प्राइस है $1000।
Last thing, I found it a little bit strange at first that they would separate it like that. I figured they'd either make both plastic or both glass, but I guess because they are coming down in price to $799 with the Galaxy S21,
ओके ब्रो, लाइव स्ट्रीम कर रहे हो? चलो भाई चेक कर लेते हैं। अच्छा अच्छा अच्छा, मैं भी यही कर रहा था।
Especially when the subject is in motion, groundbreaking 12-bit HDR combines two simultaneously captured 10-bit frames.
अच्छा, तेरी लाइव स्ट्रीम में ही आया मैं।
12-bit output. This process not only eliminates motion blur, but also produces dynamic range 3 times wider than that of 10-bit color.
ये थोड़ा सा मेरे ख्याल से लेट चल रहा है मेरे ख्याल से लाइव।
Professional quality images in any situation, but hardware is only half the story. Powerful software
सब्सक्राइब करके ही रखा है मैंने।
the strengths and benefits of our incredible hardware. Zoom photography is one area.
बाद में मिलते हैं यहाँ पे। मैं S21 पे मैं रिएक्शन दे देता हूँ। अच्छा अच्छा, जो मैसेज आया था किसी का, फिर से खोलना पड़ेगा।
But you can actually get to the other side. What would you do?
एक बार मैं कोलैब करते हैं यार, अच्छा सा कोलैब करते हैं। मैं टेक ऑर्गेनिक और तुम एक बढ़िया सा कोलैब करते हैं, बड़ा सा लाइव स्ट्रीम करते हैं, मज़ा आ जाएगा।
can let it slide. Plus, plastic, like I've said before,
ये आउट ऑफ बजट है
has a
फोन।
weird reputation.
नॉर्मल मैं
It's
सैमसंग का
not
फैन हूँ, ये
actually
देखना
that
पड़ेगा यार।
bad. It just
लेने का तो
seems
बहुत ही मन है।
cheap in more expensive phones. But
सैमसंग
it's less
देने वाला
likely
नहीं है।
shatter. You can mess with colors more, and ultimately they actually look very similar. you can just tell the S21 is a little bit lighter in your hand. So this is definitely something I'll dig into more in the full review. But yeah, everything else here about these is the same and pretty new, mainly centered around this new contour cut design where the camera cutout, as you can see, is all the way up in this ridge platform thing in the corner. Well, like I said in the Ultra video, I kind of like it, not gonna lie. I think it looks pretty futuristic, but it definitely stands out the most with this purple color here, where the camera cutout is gold, and then that gold wraps
गोल्ड भाई मुझे कलर ही पसंद नहीं है कोई भी फोन में मान लीजिए
all the way around the sides and the rails of the phone.
कलर थोड़ा सा ये तो मैं लूंगा तो ये कलर नहीं लूंगा
like a superhero costume
ये कलर लूंगा
I don't know, I wish there were more versions of color combos that you could choose from. Maybe red and black would have been cool too.
White सबसे अच्छा
black and white,
black
and yellow. But anyway, it's a unique look for sure. I'll give them that. It doesn't really resemble anything else I've seen, and I'm into that. There's no copying. But on the inside, we're going to start to see a lot of phones kind of like this one. So it's the Snapdragon 888 chip in this region, or it'll be the new 5nm Exynos chip in other regions. And I definitely want to see if there are any big differences between them with this generation, but they are promising 20 to 35% faster performance on CPU and graphics respectively. There's 8 gigs of RAM in each, like I said, and either 128 or 256 gigs of storage. This time, not expandable. Now that is a bummer, not just because you are now limited to this time, not expandable.
भाई ये मुझे पसंद नहीं आया not expandable.
Now that is a bummer, not just because you are now limited to 256 gigs of storage, but it's also another removed feature from last year technically. We had expandable storage in a micro SD card slot, now it's gone. We had glass, now it's plastic. The triple camera situation on the back is pretty standard. They share the same 12 megapixel primary camera, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and 64 megapixel 3x telephoto camera. That will zoom all the way into 30x space zoom if you want. Not quite the 100x of the ultra, but it does appear to be much more stable than before, and Samsung says it'll focus faster. And then the displays up front got an interesting update this year. I'm not going to call it an upgrade because again they did technically lose another feature. So this year the displays are now adaptive refresh rates. So they will refresh between 48 Hz and 120 Hz depending on what's on the screen, and that should save you some battery instead of just being locked at 120 most of the time. But also the displays are now 1080p. So they used to be 1440p for a couple years in a row of Samsung flagships. Now they're 1080p. Now, I know they dropped the price, but now you're talking plastic, you're talking no expandable storage, you're talking 1080p instead of 1440p. And again, it's not that big of a deal because a lot of people like me were using the phones at 120 Hz in 1080p already anyway. So it's in theory not something we should notice or care that much about. It's already around 400 DPI for that resolution on that size of the screen anyway, but it's just a little thing. You don't like getting less.
It was more
than
like
last year,
an update
so
at
it's technically an
S20.
update. I'm not going to call that an upgrade till I test it more. Then the rest of the changes are pretty minor, but all pretty positive at least, in my opinion. So there's a 1.77 times larger and hopefully also faster fingerprint reader underneath the glass. And there's a couple new software features built into the camera, like a more advanced director's mode for video, and the recording audio from multiple sources and things like that. That's all good stuff. But yeah, it's really mainly just a spec bump in a new design with a couple tweaks that allow them to lower the price down to $799. And I do like that lowered price. I think that is a good move, but it's just going to depend on how you feel about the stuff they cut out. But now you pretty much know everything you need to know about the newly announced Galaxy S21s. Clearly the Ultra has a lot more going on. So again, if you haven't seen that video, it's also live. Check it out. But let me know what you think.
थोड़ा सा बजट कम पड़ गया मेरा, थोड़ा सा ही, बस $600 का.
Hey, what's up? MKBHD here, and welcome to your first look and hands-on with.
तो ये वो जो फोन था वो अल्ट्रा नहीं था, ये Samsung Galaxy S20 Ultra है.
Galaxy S21 Ultra. So right off the top of the year, Samsung's coming out swinging. Now I also have a video about the S21.
देखते हैं कि भाई इसका क्या फीचर रहेगा.
So that'll be the first link below the like button. Check it out if you're interested.
सबसे पहले तो जिसने भी ये वीडियो पे डिसलाइक डाली है ना, वो सभी के पास एप्पल का आईफोन होगा मेरे ख्याल से.
But this is the big dog. So we kind of know what to expect at this point from Samsung's new ultra high-end phones, right? So S21 Ultra will start at $1,200, so it should be the best of what they can offer. But just
पैसा
to
ही
look
नहीं।
back for a second at S20 Ultra, this phone last year was kind of a whiff. I mean, it still did have a lot of the high-end ultra numbers that you look for, but because of the focus issues with the camera, it was just never something you quite recommended. It got passed on a lot for the money. So the S21 Ultra looks to get them back to the best of everything world with a lot of next-gen parts and pieces. Now, right off the bat,
Okay.
the first thing you notice is the biggest change, which is they've packed everything in this new design, so we might as well just start with that. So I got to handle these in the matte black and this sort of silver color, so it looks just like the leaks and the rumors we were expecting, and I think I like it. Now, I don't know if I love it.
मुझे तो ये पीछे का जो ब्लैक कलर है ना वो मुझे सबसे ज़्यादा पसंद आया। ब्लैक एंड वाइट जो है कॉम्बिनेशन थोड़ा सा रिफ्लेक्शन भी देता है, कंप्लीट मैट
We're
फिनिश
still
नहीं
on
है,
the train that
थोड़ा सा रिफ्लेक्शन, थोड़ा सा स्मूथ फिनिश जो दिया गया है वो मुझे सबसे बढ़िया पसंद आया इसमें। और ये दो सेंसर है
sort
वो
of a
कौन से है
horizontal
वो?
camera bump like Nexus 6P was actually kind of peak. But the more I look at this contour cut design, the more
ये कलर भी
futuristic
बढ़िया
it
है।
looks to me. It kind of looks like someone was making a thicker phone with huge cameras and then just melted it down to a thinner body for the rest of the phone. It's kind of hard to explain. It basically looks like Harvey Dent, like Two-Face. But on the smaller models, it actually has a cool color contrast model with the side rails. But I talk more about that in that video. On the Ultra, it's all matte across the.
1 second.
Entire back, which I love, and then shiny on the sides. So, speaking of those cameras, we've got 4 here on the back of the Ultra. It's a new second gen 108 megapixel main camera with OIS at f1.8. Very
OIS मतलब कि ऑप्टिकल इमेज स्टेबलाइजेशन 108 मेगापिक्सल का एपेचर है 1.8
curious to
प्राइमरी,
see how that'll shoot. Then you've got a 12 megapixel ultra
अल्ट्रा वाइड 12 मेगापिक्सल 120 डिग्री वाइड एंगल।
wide, which should be pretty sweet at 120 degrees. And then
इसमें मुझे ज़्यादा पसंद आया कि लेज़र इसमें नई टेक्नोलॉजी डाली है ऑटो फोकस के लिए, और बाकी तो सभी डिवाइस में मैंने देख लिया।
2 telephoto cameras.
लेज़र ऑटो फोकस थोड़ा सा अलग कॉन्सेप्ट है, वो चेक करना
You
पड़ेगा।
got 2, a 3x telephoto and a 10x periscope lens. So this is an interesting zoom situation. I was playing with the phone trying to imagine why they would do it like this. I think Samsung's probably done the math on, well, most people either zoom in a little bit or like all the way. And so I guess if they're just getting a 3x and then the 10x will facilitate the space zoom that goes really far, my curiosity is how will it do in between 3x and 10x? We'll have to see. But if you go in the camera,
मेरे पास फ़ोन होता तो मैं अभी ट्राई कर लेता
it
इसको।
looks very familiar. It's the Samsung stuff. All these zoom buttons are still here. But now you can see you can go all the way from that 3x to 10x, and it's doing digital zoom in between those two numbers. Then from 10x on, it's coming from the periscope lens, and space zoom is still here, so you can go all the way to 100 on the Ultra. And it's right off the bat actually looking much more stable than the last gen, which is
स्टेबल इसी के लिए है कि ये ऑप्टिकल इमेज स्टेबलाइजेशन तो है ही इसमें, बट थोड़ा सा सॉफ्टवेयर पिछली जनरेशन से थोड़ा सा ट्विक किया गया है, इसकी वजह से जो ऑब्जेक्ट है वो स्क्रीन पे स्टेबल रहता है और उसकी इमेज बराबर से आती है। मेरे ख्याल से ऐसा ही है। सॉफ्टवेयर जो है इसका एआई, मतलब इस लोगों ने बोला है कि एआई है इसमें, तो एआई जो है वो ऑब्जेक्ट को डिटेक्ट करेगा कि भाई ऑब्जेक्ट, ये बंदा ये ऑब्जेक्ट को कैप्चर कर रहा है तो वो ऑब्जेक्ट स्टेबल रखा। ये सब कुछ जो है वो सॉफ्टवेयर कर रहा है, हार्डवेयर भी कर रहा है, मतलब कि सेंसर नहीं कर रहा है। सेंसर तो भाई सीधा कैप्चर ही करेगा।
actually pretty nice.
ऑप्टिकल इमेज स्टेबलाइजेशन तो भाई इसमें है ही बात, एआई भी है और मतलब सब कुछ मिला के ऐसा स्टेबिलिटी दिया है इसमें।
There's also some improvements to the higher end modes like a director's view for more control over live switching between the cameras, and recording from multiple cameras at once. And there's also multi-device recording
फ़ोन के पीछे जो है वो भी मुझे पसंद आया,
from both the phone's mics
Decorative piece.
and your headphone mics at the same time, and an improved single take mode. So cool stuff here. We all know the Ultra in Samsung's lineup is supposed to have the top of the line cameras, and this is the best they can offer, and you can even see the laser autofocus here. So I'm almost surprised they didn't toss in a macro camera to sort of fill up the space and make an even grid. But hey, it's a periscope lens taking up that space instead, begging to be tested. So yeah, lots of new camera parts. It'll be interesting to see how these perform. Definitely make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Subscribe
Be
ये
on the first to see the review when it
भाई.
comes out. We can test these things. But enough about the back of the phone. Let's talk about the front. So it's a big phone, of course. It's the Ultra, and that allows for a huge 6.8-inch Quad HD OLED display. And this time,
ये जो मैं सैमसंग का यूज़ कर रहा हूँ इसमें है AMOLED डिस्प्ले, इसमें है OLED डिस्प्ले.
it's Quad HD at 120 Hz. So you can see here in the settings, it's at the 1440p.
ये जो डिस्प्ले इसमें मेरे ख्याल से होगा 60 हर्ट्ज़ का इसमें डिस्प्ले है. सैमसंग गैलेक्सी S20 में 120 हर्ट्ज़ तक रिफ्रेश रेट जा सकता है और 40 हर्ट्ज़ तक रिफ्रेश रेट जो है वो डाउन भी हो सकता है. इसकी वजह से बैटरी लाइफ थोड़ी सी इम्प्रूव
And motion
होगी.
smoothness is also set to adaptive up to 120 Hz. So that's sweet.
Okay.
But also, this new adaptive refresh rate on the Ultra is new, and it'll automatically constantly be switching all the way up and down between 10 Hz and 120 Hz. So that should help save a lot of battery in this adaptive mode. It'll be really interesting
टिकटॉक वहाँ पे आ रहा है, देखिए आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं टिकटॉक वहाँ पे आ
test
रहा
to
है.
see how responsive it is and to see how much battery it saves. So you imagine when you're not really doing anything on the display, nothing's moving, it throttles all the way down to 10 Hz.
10 हर्ट्ज़ में मेरे ख्याल से 10 हर्ट्ज़ मतलब एक सेकंड में 10 फ्रेम डिस्प्ले होगी. तो वो 10 फ्रेम डिस्प्ले होगी तो ये डिस्प्ले आपको दिखेगा कैसा? FPS आपने कभी गेम प्ले करी होगी किसी भी, जैसे कि मैंने GTA प्ले करता हूँ, मैं 15-20 FPS पे मैं गेम खेलता हूँ अभी मेरे कंप्यूटर पे. तो मुझे पता है कि 10-15 FPS में कितना स्क्रीन जो है वो मतलब कि वो होगा, स्मूथ नहीं चलेगा डिस्प्ले.
Curious if that can bring it to the same battery life or close to the regular 60 Hz mode. I'm not too worried about overall battery life. The phone does still have a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, so I'm not concerned about being bad. I'm just more curious if it can be amazing. I also love that the display is nearly flat. It is slightly rounded at the very edges, but not nearly as much as I've seen it in other phones, which makes me happy. And there is the small cutout at the top for the ridiculous 40 megapixel selfie camera. And they also dropped Qualcomm's new, much larger and hopefully faster in-display fingerprint sensor back
ये
there.
तो भाई
It's
personally check करना पड़ेगा.
1.77 times larger than the
Fingerprint
last
sensor.
gen, and I'm hoping less finicky too. And the display's max brightness is now up to 25% brighter, up to 1500 nits, and there's a new AI-based blue light shield option for better viewing comfort if you're into that. But yeah, everything else you're looking at here is right in line with what you'd expect from the 2021 Samsung flagship. Great build quality, it's IP68 water resistant, the newest internals of course with the 5nm Snapdragon 888 in this region. It'll be the 5nm Exynos chip in other regions, which will be interesting again to test to see how it fares with battery. 15-watt wireless charging, there's reverse wireless charging too, great buttons, tiny bezels, the whole thing. One interesting spec though that is missing, there is no expandable storage.
ये मुझे पसंद नहीं आया. इसमें एक्सपेंडेबल स्टोरेज ही नहीं है तो आप मेमोरी कार्ड नहीं डाल सकते, तो यहाँ से ही कार्यक्रम खत्म हो गया.
The micro SD card is basically going extinct now.
माइक्रो SD कार्ड ही नहीं डाल सकते एक फ़ोन में, एक मोबाइल फ़ोन में आप SD कार्ड ही नहीं डाल सकते. ये कैसा किया सैमसंग वाले?
The micro SD card is basically going extinct now. Samsung was some of the last ones to do it in their flagships. So there are only 3 specs for total storage on this phone: 128, 256, or 500.
ये देख लीजिए भाई 3 स्टोरेज दिए गए हैं.
And then so unlike the smaller S21 and S21
Inbuilt.
Plus, there's different amounts of RAM on these versions. So those all will have 8 gigs of RAM. On the Ultra, you start at 12 gigs of RAM for the
12 gigs of RAM मेरे कंप्यूटर में है अभी.
128 and 256. And
ये फ़ोन में आ गई है
if
अभी.
you go with the tip top 0.5 terabyte max spec, that'll have 16 gigs of RAM. So you're trading your expandable storage for a lot of RAM, I guess. Also, speaking of things that are gone, no headphones or charger in the box confirmed. Like I've warned you, this is gonna start happening very quickly across the industry. iPhone 12 is a huge dominant.
आर्यन सिंगला, हाँ भाई वो भी अभी चेक कर लेता हूँ भाई। लाइक सब्सक्राइब और शेयर करके ज़रूर जाना ये वीडियो, ये लाइव स्ट्रीम लाइक करके भाई ज़रूर जाना, बाकी कुछ ना करो, सब्सक्राइब करके ज़रूर जाना।
Note to fall. So now don't expect a power brick.
सबसे पहले इसका रिएक्शन दे देता हूँ, उसके बाद मैं वहाँ पे आ रहा हूँ।
Flagship phone from here on out. But
1 सेकंड।
So now don't expect a power brick.
अच्छा, एक सिम ट्रे दिख रही है, एक माइक्रोफोन दिख रहा है, एक स्पीकर दिख रहा है और USB टाइप C पोर्ट।
And a flagship phone from here on out. But last thing, let's talk about the S Pen. It was added to the S21 Ultra S Pen support. Now, okay, a lot of people saw this in the rumors leading up to this and thought, oh, that probably means the Galaxy Note is on its way out. Maybe they'll kill it soon. I don't think so. This is just coming from my hour of playing with the phone. The stylus on the S21 Ultra feels like a very optional add-on accessory, where on the Galaxy Note, well, it's still an integral part of the Note experience, and it's just, they're in very different worlds. So first of all, like I said, it's an optional $40 accessory, so if you want to buy an S Pen for your S21 Ultra, it'll cost you, and then it's actually compatible with other S Pens of the past, so if you have one already, you can carry that too. But the whole experience is passive, so the whole low latency writing and drawing experience is all the same, but there's no Bluetooth or gesture controls like you would have on the Note. And then of course there's the whole how you carry it question, since there's no silo built into the phone. So that's another optional accessory. So you can get a stylus and a case for now $70 extra, and the phone sort of just clicks into this rubber slot in the side of the case, which is fine, I guess, but it's definitely a very optional accessory. And so if you're going to go through all of that and spend extra money to have a stylus on your high-end Samsung phone, I feel like the obvious choice is to buy a Note where it slots in perfectly and neatly every time, charges, has the active experience, has more features. And of course there will be a Note 21 Ultra. I guess it's not an of course thing. I'm predicting there will be a Note 21 Ultra that people wanting a stylus should consider later this year. So I don't think the Note's going anywhere. But that's basically it for the new S21 Ultra. What do you think? Is this enough of a redemption? I mean, you get the huge numbers again, you get a lot of next-gen pieces, it seems to be going in the right direction. There is, of course, the S21 and S21 Plus launching alongside it on January 29th, but if you're going to spend the big bucks, this is what you're going to get. And they've also launched smart tags and Galaxy Buds Pro, so Samsung's really popping off right at the beginning of the year. But let me know what you think. Is this the one you guys would pick, or would you go for one of the other S21 models? Let me know. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
बढ़िया रिव्यू था भाई, खतरनाक रिव्यू था इसका। सबसे पहला रिव्यू इसने ही किया है सैमसंग गैलेक्सी S21 का यूट्यूब में।
And with a few short steps, you'll be on the go. And we made your experience smoother, faster, and easier than ever, so you can enjoy your Galaxy experience right at your fingertips. Samsung and Google have worked closely together to improve the user experience in the car display. The smartphone-like visual experience will feel more intuitive and familiar. You'll enjoy a simple app ecosystem with access to your favorite navigation and entertainment apps.
अभी भी लाइव स्ट्रीम चल रहा है इसका।
You can also talk to Google to make calls and send messages
यहाँ पर ही लाइव
safely
स्ट्रीम
while
शुरू
keeping
कर
your
दें।
hands on the wheel. You'll be able to operate your SmartThings ecosystem. SmartThings makes it easy to manage your home wherever you are.
To all the Galaxy fans watching us live, at Samsung, we are driven by a philosophy we call do what you can't. That has led us to introduce many industry-first innovations. Talking of bringing industry-first innovation, it's time for the epic Galaxy S21 to take the center stage. As you have seen, its bold and iconic design is definitely a trendsetter. And with the epic 5G capability, this device is set to change the way India consumes content. And what's more, for the first time ever, we are bringing revolutionary 5nm chipset on a Galaxy device. Isn't that amazing? The Galaxy S series has always pushed the boundaries of camera innovation. And this kind
कैमरा
of
ही मुझे चाहिए अच्छा
epic camera of Galaxy S21 will help you capture your favorite moments like never before. We are proud to share that hundreds of engineers from India have contributed significantly in developing Galaxy S21 epic camera. We are launching today not one, not two, but 3 devices from the Galaxy S21 series in India, with memory variant up to half a terabyte. For all our avid gamers, including you,
अच्छा
the Galaxy S21 Ultra will also be available in a 16 GB RAM variant. The Galaxy S21
16
series
GB
will be
RAM
introduced in
एक
newly
कंप्यूटर से भी
conceptualized
ज़्यादा
6
रैम है
phantom
इसमें
colors, and each of them is a head turner for sure, including my personal favorite, the Phantom Black. And now, coming to the moment that you all have been waiting for, Galaxy S21 Ultra starts at 105,999. Galaxy S21 Plus starts at 81,999. And the Galaxy S21 starts at an unbelievable price of rupees 69,999. All pre-order consumers of Galaxy S21 series will get a Galaxy Smart Tag and a Samsung eShop voucher of up to rupees 10,000. The Samsung eShop voucher can be redeemed for a Galaxy Watch Active 2 or a combo.
अच्छा
of a
प्री ऑर्डर
Galaxy
में
Buds
आपको ये
Plus
सब मिलेगा
and a travel adapter.
तो प्री ऑर्डर कर
And
सकते
that's
हैं
not all. You can also get a cashback of up to rupees 10,000. Pre-order
कैशबैक भी
starts
है
just few hours from now.
10,000 रुपए का
All
कैशबैक
pre-order consumers will get an early delivery starting 25th of January. Sales starts from 29th January at Samsung.com, Samsung exclusive store and all major stores. The Galaxy S21 series is the first of many innovations that we will bring to you in 2021. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, and I'm sure this device will make your everyday epic.
So I was backstage playing with the whole lineup, and I can tell you one thing. The Phantom colors are stunning, and the whole lineup is genuinely epic. But then, who am I to tell you this? When we have the experts. Welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
So let's hear from you. First impressions, Rajiv.
ये सब एक्सपर्ट है
Famous first impressions, right? Okay, I'll tell you my first impression, and it's relief, and I'll explain why. My expectations when there's a flagship phone are sky high, and I have to say this one surpassed all my expectations. So this now sets a standard for all phones to be compared in 2021. Epic smartphone of 2021.
Wow, epic smartphone of 2021. What about you, Sabi?
Well, I love the
ये
sleek
दोनों
design
tech expert
and
तो
the
नहीं।
phantom violet color is a firm favorite already.
Mine too.
मैं
Mine
दोनों
too.
को फॉलो कर रहा
What
हूँ
about you?
Well, like I
इंस्टाग्राम
said,
में
I'm all about the cameras. The fact that this has now 2 tele lenses is a game changer. The 108 megapixel I've always loved, and the advancements in pro camera are quite something. This is one epic camera.
One epic camera.
Well, as for me, I can't stop gushing over the low light video capabilities and the 8K video snap. I can't wait to create content with this one.
This is fantastic. Looks like everybody's got what they wanted and a bit more out of this phone.
Seems like it.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys. It was fun having you at the show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Akshay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And so the epic event comes to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed the great lineup of Galaxy devices that we unveiled today. I thank all the experts who came on the show, and especially you guys for tuning in. Thank you, good night, stay safe, and have an epic 2021.
गुड नाइट सबको 10:05 हो गए हैं 10:05 किडनी बेचनी पड़ेगी उसके बाद मैं ये फोन लूंगा बाय बाय टू ऑल बाय बाय क्या अभी भी चालू है ये स्ट्रीम कि नहीं, ओके नहीं है। तो चलिए भाई अगली वीडियो मिलते हैं भाई। सैमसंग गैलेक्सी S20 का रिव्यू तो आपने देख लिया होगा, मेरा रिएक्शन भी देख लिया होगा। तो ऐसा कुछ सैमसंग S21 का है रिव्यू, और ऐसा ही फ़ोन कुछ है। तो इसकी डिस्काउंट 10,000 तक के मिलने वाले हैं, तो आप देख सकते हैं उसके वेबसाइट पे। तो चलिए अगली वीडियो मिलते हैं। मैं तो डेली वीडियो डालता रहता हूँ। ओके, तो चलिए अगली वीडियो मिलते हैं, तब तक के लिए जय हिंद, वंदे मातरम। सेफ रहिएगा भाई सब लोग, कोरोना अभी भी गया नहीं है, म्यूटेशन आ गया है कोरोना का, तो सेफ रहिएगा। वैक्सीन काम करेगी या नहीं करेगी अभी वो पता नहीं चला है, तो मास्क पहने रखिएगा, सैनिटाइज़र का ही उपयोग करेगा तो भाई बहुत ही अच्छा रहेगा। चलिए भाई स्ट्रीम एंड करने का समय आ चुका है। ओके, तो बाय बाय टू ऑल।